Namaste friends, I am Jayalakshmi Ravichandran signing in on behalf of Magic Needles. This day I am here with pattern 7 that I have used in my Smiles and Giggles blanket. This pattern has been worked with gold color with color code 1709 and it is worked with Hobby Store Special DK yarn. As I said, this is Hobby Store Special DK yarn from Magic Needles, gold color. For the sample swatch, I have made 34 stitches as usual. But in the blanket, you will be having 302 stitches. Those 302 stitches will have to be adjusted for this pattern repeat. This pattern is worked over a multiple of 7 stitches. So, calculate the 7 multiples and the rest you have to adjust as DCs at the ends of the blanket. On both ends you need to adjust with DCs. So to begin with, I am making a standing DC. I am not making any turning chain here. Just turn my work. Pull up the loop to the height of a DC. Holding the yarn with the finger, twist, insert your hook into the very first stitch, yarn over, pull through. Keep holding the yarn, the twisted yarn, yarn over, pull through the loop and behind the twisted loop. Now you can leave the finger. You will have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Next skip 2 and in the next stitch make 3 DCs. Chain 2 and 3 DCs in the same stitch, all in the same stitch. This is 3DCV, you can call it. Now skip 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and in the 7th place 3DC, chain 2, 3DC. So it's a 3DCV stitch you are doing. Chain 2, so this is the pattern repeat. Skip 6 stitches, 3 DCV stitch in the next. Three DCs I have completed. Chain 2, place 3 more DCs in the same stitch. So repeat this, skip 6 stitches, in the 7th you make 3 DC, chain 2, 3 DC, again skip 3 DC, chain 2, 3 DC. I shall meet you at the end of this row. I have come to the end of this row. Now I will be left with 3 stitches here. So yarn over and place my last DC in the last stitch by skipping 2. So in my swatch I have 34 stitches, that is 28 plus 6, 34. So I will be having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but in the blanket you will be having 43 such shells for you with separated by DCs. Now turn your work. Make a standing DC. And in this chain 2 space, you are going to make 5 DCs. Chain 2, again in chain 2 space 5 DCs, So continue till the end. In every chain 2 space 5 DC and chain 2 you will do. I've come to the last set of 5 DCs here. Now skip 3 DCs and place your last DC on the very last stitch. Turn your work. Place a very standing DC here in the very first stitch. Chain 1. Place 2 more DCs here. One more, 3 more DCs here actually. It will look like this. Here afterwards, you are going to place 3 DC, chain 2, 3 DC in the chain 2 space of the previous row. Again in the next chain 2 space 3 DC, chain 2, 3 DC. Continue till the end by placing 3 DC, chain 2, 3 DC in every chain 2 space. I will meet you at the end. You come to the end here. Skip the next 5 DCs, yarn over, place 3 DC, chain 1, 3 DC in the very last stitch here. Chain 1 and 3 DC. Turn your work, no extra chains. Make a standing DC here in the very first stitch. Then make 2 double crochet in the chain 1 space here. Chain 2, skip these stitches and make 5 DCs in the chain 2 space. After making 5 DCs, chain 2, skip these 3 DCs and this chain 2 space, and in the middle chain space between these 2 sets, make 5 DCs again. Chain 2, again skip these 3 DCs, skip the chain 2 space, skip these 3 DCs and make 5 DCs in the chain 2 space. Continue, I shall meet you at the end. I have come to the end of this row. chain 2 and place your 2DC in chain 1 space, and the last DC on the last DC of the previous row. Turn your work. Place your first twisted DC here. Chain, then 3DC, chain to 3DC in every chain 2 space. So here we start with chain 2, 3DC, again 3DC, chain to 3DC in the next chain 2 space, again in the next chain 2 space 3DC, chain 2, (3DC). So this is a pattern repeat. I'll meet you at the end of this row. Now place your last DC on the very last stitch here. Rows 2 to 5 are the pattern repeat. So for the blanket I have stopped with this particular row. Now you have to place as a DC row, the final DC row, that is you are working the pattern between 2 DC rows. So we started with DC row, we'll end with DC row here. So we place 1 DC each on every DC, but that won't be sufficient for 302 stitches. So what you have to do is you have to place 1 DC in every chain 2 space also. So 1 DC each on every DC and 1 DC in chain 2 space, and adjust the total number of stitches to be 302. I have written the pattern, and the pattern is available in the video below, in the description box below. The pattern will look like this if you work it separately. This is an airy pattern. You can use this pattern for any summer wear garments. That will look very good. Thank you friends for watching. Have a nice time.